Welcome, boys and girls. Good morning. It's great having you here another morning. And without further ado, let us just get into it. So, in the meantime, as I welcome each and every one of you, I would like for you to go ahead and share in the chat which school you're logging in from so that I have an idea of, where my students are joining me from. So this morning, of course, we will be going through some ability test practice because our ability test exam is just around the corner. Remember to go ahead and share the link with your friends so that they too can benefit. And we're ready for productive work this morning, and I hope you have your books, your pencils, your erasers, whatever you need, rulers, whatever you need for this session. All right, so go ahead. Yes, guys, I see you. Welcome from Friendship Primary, Frankfield, Granville, Garden Hill, Cumberland, All Age, Titchfield. Welcome, St. Roberts, Bellarmine Prep, Warsaw Primary. Welcome, every one of you. So let's just get into it. So as you would know, ability test is one of the three components that students normally sit, especially in grade 6, for the exit exam for you to proceed to high school. So we have three components: the ability test, the curriculum based, and we have the performance task. Today, we're just going to look at some ability test type questions. Some of these questions are from past papers. Really, most of them are from past papers. And so we will have fun learning and trying to conquer these kind of questions when the exam is about to arise. Now, the first one is, in a bag, there is an equal number of red, blue, and yellow marbles. How many marbles could be in the bag? Now, I want you to share your answer in the chat, but also with that, I want you to send even a one or two explanation so we all can understand how you came up with that number or that answer. All right, welcome, guys. Welcome, Bellas Gate. Welcome, Victoria Primary. For Pats, Williams Elite Academy. Welcome. So go ahead. Yes, some of you would have seen this question before because they are past paper questions, but I also want some justification for your answers. So go right ahead. I see Destiny and Michaela saying D, Anaha Cox, Jessica saying D as well. Yes, you know it's D. You have done it before, but why? How do you know it is D? Can you explain to me? How did you get D for your answer? Okay, so Monica also says 42 marbles. How did you get that? I see one person saying A, Shadow saying A. Justify your answers. Different answers, whatever answer you guys come up with, justify your answers. Tell us, how do you know it is A? How do you know it is B? How do you know that there are 16 marbles? How do you know that there are 42 marbles in the bag? Tell me. 42 because it says equal numbers and D is an even number. Well, 16 is also an even number, so come on. Let's go ahead and justify this. Michaela says, because there are three marbles, red, green, and blue, so the number has to be divisible by 3, and the only option is 42. Let me see. So Shanoy also says because it says equal. Tanisha Charles says 42 divided by 3 has no remainder. All the others, Anaha Cox says all the others are not multiples of 3. All right. Okay, baby girl FF says it is an even number, so either A or B, but you have to be sure because you cannot select both answers. So which one is definitely your answer and why? All right, Rakayla Beckford says because you divide 3 into 42. Uh, AG Smith or AG Smith says 42 because 42 is easily divided by 3. So each person will receive 14 marbles. Nordia because 3 can go into 42 without leaving a remainder. All right. Shante Mimi says 42 is divided by 3 and it has no remainder. All right. So, guys, most of you are definitely on the right path. So, for those who do not understand, let us talk about this a little. Now, it says that there's an equal number of red marbles, blue marbles, and yellow marbles. So, whatever amount of marbles in the bag, it means that if we're to divide that into 3 groups, all 3 groups must have the same amount because we have red, blue, and yellow, 3 different color marbles. So if we look at 16, we have to think about the number which is a multiple of 3, or as some of you said, the number that is divisible by 3. So let us think about that. Is 16 divisible by 3? Is 29 divisible by 3? Because 16 divided by 3 is 15, leaving 1 remainder. Is 29 divisible by 3? Let's think about that. 29 divided by 3 is 9 with a remainder 2. We also have 37. Is that divisible by 3? 3 into 37, or should I say 37? 3 into 37 goes 12 times with a remainder 1. Let us look at 42. 3 into 42 goes 14 times and there is no remainder. So if you look, you realize that A, B, C, which is 16, 29, and 37, when it's divided by 3, there is a remainder. But 42, there is no remainder, and we're looking for 3 groups. So good job, guys. The answer is 42 simply because we have 3 different color marbles, and it says equal number of those different colors. So we're looking for the amount that when divided by 3, we get equal groups and there is no remainder. All right, let's move on to the next one. It takes approximately 90 seconds for the average person to brush his or her teeth. If a person brushes their teeth twice daily, approximately how much time does one person spend brushing their teeth in a year? Of course, I want justifications for these. So go ahead. If you actually did your calculation, please share that with us here in the chat so at least everyone can have an understanding of how we're arriving at that answer. All right, so go ahead. All right, so I see your soul belongs to me now says 1 day. However, and Marissa saying 1 hour, we need justifications, we need explanation. Because of course, these are past paper questions. And if you go in the exam, it is very unlikely that you see all of these questions coming back. And even if they do, maybe it might be tweaked a little so it's different. So you have to have the understanding of how to answer a question like this. So go ahead, explain to me in the chat, how did you come up with your answer? And I want to see some calculations. All right. Okay, I see person saying A, B. I want you to just say 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. So at least I can differentiate from the first question. Okay, and I definitely need explanations. So your soul belongs to me now says 24 hours are in a day. Yes, definitely. But how? How did you come up with your answer? We know 24 hours are in a day, but what relation does that have to how you came up with your answer? Come on, guys, justify your answer. 18 is close to 24. That's what Bedwars Pro says, but I don't know where you how you got an 18 and 24. All right. So Princess says because if you brush your teeth 90 seconds, it could not be an hour or day or week. It has to be 1 month. I'm still not getting that. Skyline 480 says 2 times 90 equal 180 seconds or 3 minutes. Then how many minutes in an hour? 60 divided, how many 3 minutes in an hour? 60 divided by 3 equals 20. All right. Come on with a little more, Skyline. Give us a little more. Guys, take a minute and properly work it out. Whether or not you know the answer, take a minute and properly work it out so that you can give us a proper explanation. Okay, I see person saying 18 is close to 24. Little Ariana saying 20 minutes. Now it says approximately how. So we are looking at some estimated responses here. 1 hour, 1 day, 1 week, 1 month. So if you say 20 minutes, what is that being rounded off to? Because it's estimation. We are talking about approximately, which means about what? So go ahead. All right. Yes, TikTok stream, we are dealing with two different units. But explain to me, I need you guys to explain to me what do we need to begin with. All right. So I'm still waiting for some responses, but let's think about this. 90 seconds for the average person to brush his or her teeth. So if a person brushes their teeth twice daily, approximately how much time does one spend brushing their teeth in a year? All right, fine. Let us know how many seconds or how many minutes one takes to brush their teeth each day. Someone had calculated that before and they said that okay, 90 seconds times 2 because it's twice daily gives us 180 seconds for the day. And he went ahead and he rounded off that to say 180 seconds is the same as 3 minutes. So it's okay if you want to use minutes for your calculation or you want to leave it in seconds. It's quite fine. However, I just want to know that you understand how to calculate that. So we have 180 seconds each day. Now let's think about if it talks about how many time one takes to brush their teeth in a year, how much time they spend brushing their teeth in 1 year. Then let's think about it. How many days, approximately how many days are in 1 year? Have you thought about that part? Approximately. Guys, I see you sending in your answers with no justification. If it is that you have no justification, if I give you another question like this and I say if approximately, it takes approximately 110 seconds for the average person to brush his or her teeth. What if I had given you that? How would you approach this question? You have to understand and know how to solve a question like this because it is not guaranteed that you're going to get these same numbers back in your question. So I want to see how is it that you will solve a question like this. Yes, Life with Kayla 365. So yes, Rose 365. So 365 approximately 365 days are in a year. So each day they take 180 seconds to brush teeth. However, for the year they have about 365 days. So let's go, and of course you can do your calculation here for me. 365 days, let's multiply that by 180 seconds. And I'm just working with the numbers I have here because, of course, you will work with your whatever is more comfortable for you. All right. So you can go ahead and you can do your calculation. If we go ahead and we multiply 365 days by 180 seconds, what is the number that we will get and in what unit? What number we will get and in what unit? Go ahead and do your calculation, guys. What number will we get and in what unit? Or, of course, we can do this 365 because 180, as someone had said, is the same as 3 minutes, and that is pretty easier, to calculate. So, yes, very good, Tamar. 65,700 seconds. Now, I want to see the units on that. If we had multiplied 365 by 3, what would that have been and in what unit? Because, of course, we will be using different, persons will be using different units to calculate this. In what unit would this be? If you're going to use, okay, now guys, don't just put 65,700. I want to see the unit. Very good, Michaela and Devashia and Jaquan. Very good. Yes, right here we will have 65,700 seconds. Let me just write it in. Now, we have in 65,700 seconds. Of course, we can represent this in using a simpler unit. This is a pretty big number. And we have seconds, but there is another unit of time that is greater than seconds that we can get from this. Now, if we have, all right, Anayi Cox says 1,095 minutes. I think you're talking about the second one, no problem. So let me go ahead and let me write that. Because that is the next number we are actually moving towards. Because now that we have seconds, and we need to make it a little simpler, so we can move on to a smaller number. Then we need to see how many minutes there are in 65,700 seconds. And that is where we will come up again with 1,095 minutes. Great. So now we have 1,095 minutes. Are we able to get another kind of unit of time from this? Can we get hour from this? Because seconds, then minutes, then hours. Can we get hours from this? And if so, what will we need to do to get hours from this? And when you have done whatever you need to do, how many hours will we get from 1,095 minutes? So we know that 60 minutes make 1 hour. So pretty much we will be dividing the number of minutes we have by the number of minutes in an hour. And so we'll have 1,095 divided by 60. Let me see what you guys come up with. Let me see what you guys come up with. Very good, Joshua. We are going to divide it by 60. Very good, Shamari. Definitely, guys, we are going to divide it by 60. And when we divide it by 60, what will we get? 18.25 hours. All right. And someone had said 18 hours as well. And it's quite fine if you want to just round it, because of course we're looking at an approximate answer. So if you round it up or round it down, because if you have 18.25 hours, because I would see there that you would have done your calculation, whether you use a calculator or you, whenever you're writing your remainder, you wrote it in the decimal form. No problem with that. If we have 18.25 hours, how would we round this? Would we round this to 19 hours, or would we round this to 18 hours? And if we round it to 18 hours, because it is talking about 2.5, that is certainly not halfway. And so we will need to round down. So let's round it to 18 hours. But whether or not we round it to 19 or 18, which we want to be correct and run it to 18 hours. Now we have four options here. Is 18 hours closer or approximately 1 hour? Is 18 hours approximately 1 day? Is 18 hours approximately 1 week? Or is 18 hours approximately 1 month? That's what I want you guys to tell me now. All right. So I see persons typing in 1 day, and I see a lot of 1 day coming in. And you're so correct. 18 hours is a lot closer to 1 day than it is to 1 hour, than it is to 1 week, and than it is to 1 month. Now, guys, this is the kind of discourse I want us all to have when we're solving questions like these. I don't want us to just put an answer because we have done it before, because many of you had put an answer before, and after this workout, you are actually putting another answer because you think you remember this to be the correct one. You have to understand how to solve such a question. If the numbers were changed, how would you solve such a question? Very good, guys. Very good. And yes, the correct answer is 1 day. It takes approximately 1 day. All right, so let's move on to the next question. All right, so let's go with this next question. It says that there are 5 teams in a basketball competition. Each team must play each of the other teams once. How many games will each team play? How many games will each team play? Let's think about it. And before I go talking about this question, I want you guys to, you're putting your answer, you're placing your answer in the chat. I want you to explain to me, how did you arrive at your answer? I don't just want to see 1, 4, 5, or 20 in the chat. I want you to explain to me, how did you arrive at that answer? So go ahead. Yes, you have your answers. Instead of just placing a number, you need to put your number and your explanation in that same sentence. We need the answer and the explanation in that sentence. Or, of course, the explanation are moving down to the answer. That's pretty good. All right. So, yes, you do know the answer. I see persons saying 1, persons saying 5, some saying 4, some saying 20. Tell us how. How many games will each team play? How many games will each team play? All right. And after that, I want you to probably share how many games will be played in all, because I see persons just answering many things here. So tell us, how did you come up with your answer? All right. Yes, Joshua, you can't play against your own team. We understand that. All right. So we also have Anaya said each team played each other once. They will not play against their own team. Very good. All right. But tell me, explain to me further. Shamari Sommer says since each team plays once, team one would play 2 and plays 3. So if you continue, it would be 4 games in total. Oh, I'm not sure I'm understanding. Oh, you mean like play team 2? That's what you're talking about. All right. Let us write our explanation in a more precise manner. So, I don't know. I can try to understand and other persons can try to understand. All right, so I'm seeing a lot of persons talking. I would like to use perhaps a little, I don't know, diagram or something just to explain what we're talking about. So I'm just going to put this right here. I'm going to call this team 1. I'm going to call this team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. I'm just going to use that because I like to model. I like to model, and I would love for you guys to pick up that practice too. I want you to write what you understand the question to be. That is a very good practice, because with that, it is difficult for you to actually be wrong, because you're working it out, you're trying to understand it by using, whether you're using whatever model you're using. All right, so let's think about it like this, because I'm seeing a lot of answers. I'm not really seeing much explanation coming up, and I am more interested in your explanation because of course the question could have had different numbers in it. So come on, guys. All right, so Nordia says because it asked how many games would each team play and not the total number of games played. Yes, but how did you come up with your answer? All right, so let's think about it. So team 1, let me just go ahead and change this color. Team 1 will play team 2, team 3, team 4, team 5. Right here, team 1 is playing 1, 2, 3, 4. Team 1 is playing those 4 teams. Let's look at team 2. Team 2 will be playing team 1, 3, 4, and 5. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 games team 2 will be playing. Team 3 will be playing team 1, team 2, team 4, and team 5. So that is 1, 2, 3, 4 teams team 3 will be playing. Let's look at 4. Team 4 will be playing team 1, 2, 3, and 5, which is 1, 2, 3, 4 teams. And team 5 will be playing teams 1, 2, 3, 4, which is 4 teams. So basically what is happening here, and some of you would have expressed that each team, they cannot play against themselves. So if there are 5 teams, it means that my team will be playing against the other 4 teams, and so will each team. They will be playing against the other 4 teams. I want this kind of discourse, guys. I want you guys to explain, how did you come up with your answer 4? Very good. The correct answer is definitely 4. Now, what if I'd ask the question, because I see some persons placing, giving me other answers in the chat, and of course, I'm not understanding, what you had. How did you come up with those answers? So I had thought that maybe I could ask you how many games will be played in total. How many games will be played in total? I thought about asking you that. So we know that each team will play 4 games each. How many games will we play in total? So that is something I want you guys to put in the chat. And I don't just want you to put your answer. I want you to put the number. I want you to say, dash games in total. Or, just let me know that you're answering this question now. So if you are choosing, if you're saying, okay, they're going to play 6 games in total, I want you to have 6 games in total, 8 games in total, whatever games in total, so I can understand. All right, so I see some calculations coming up. 4 times 5 equals 20. However, guys, I want you to differentiate here, because first we asked about each team. How many games will each team play? Now I want to talk about in total. Stefisha says 4 games in total. Izuku says 20 games in total. BST Army Forever says 20 games each. DeMarco says 4 games in total. Ash says 20 games in total. So does Keva. Now let's think about it. Let us think about it. All right. Shante has some sort of explanation here. 4 games times 5 team is equal to 20 games in total. That is what she has there. And I love an explanation. You guys should know that by now. So yes, we've got 5 teams. And of course, we could go ahead and we could just add these, all the games that each team will be playing. We could definitely go ahead and add these. We could definitely go ahead and add these. I mean, instead of saying 4 times 5. So if this game is playing, but then let's think about it. Let's think about it. One of the games I'm playing with this one is the same one I'm playing with this team. Have you thought about that? When team one is playing against team two, isn't it that one of those games here is really the one that they're playing against this team with? Think about that, guys. Think about that. Each of us are playing 4 games each. Each of us are playing 4 games each. But when I play 4 games, one of them is with team two. And so that means that that game I'm playing with team two, it means that it's really 3 more games added to these 4 games that we're talking about here, correct? Let's think about that. Now, let me go ahead and get green. All right, so let's think about that, guys. I'm not sure if you have been thinking about that, but if I play 4 games, one against team two, one against team three, four, and one against five, then let's think about it. Team one would have played 4 games. Team two played 4 games too, but one of those games was really against team one. So, can we really add that same game twice? Can we really add that same game twice? What about team three? One of those games played was with team one and team two, and so on and so forth. So, can we really add these games twice? Now, I'm not seeing anyone here who is really responding to me. I'm seeing persons are saying 4 times 5 equals 20, divided by 5 equals 4 and everything. But let's think about it. If I played against you, that is one game, the same game you played against me. We can't count that game twice. So initially, one team has played 4 games. However, how many games? How many games? Because we're not going to be adding these games now. We cannot be adding the same game that was played against team one. So we're going to calculate going down. So if we're talking about 4 games, team one played 4 games, team two played 4 games, but one of them is with team one, which we already counted. What would we add to this 4? Because we're calculating all of these things. What would we be adding to this one? Oh, I see person saying 10 games and then 8 games. All right, guys. Guys, you're moving too fast for me. All right, so I want you guys to explain how you came up with those. So I'm thinking that right here, I will have 3 games out of the 4 games because one was played and it was already counted. I'm thinking here that, okay, and there's a lot of thing going on. So we have checked this one. Let's talk about this one here for team three. One of the game was with this team and one was with this one. So I'm now thinking that I'm not double counting games. I'm just going to have 2 right here because I counted those already. Then so I'm through this one. Then let me go to team 4. I've played this game, this game, this game, and I've counted it. So I think right here is 1. And then when I think about it right here with team 5, I have played against all these, but we have counted those games already. So basically, no games will be left here. All the games that was played with team 5 was already counted by teams 1, 2, 3, and 4. And so I can go ahead and calculate this. Yes, Althea May, I have to add all those 4, but do you realize that you are actually you're double counting some of those games that were already played? And this is just a trick question, really, when I'm asking you all this, but I would like to hear I would like to see some people thinking, and really thinking out the box. And what would this be? So here I am counting 4 games, then 3, then 2, then 1. This looks like 7 and that 10. This looks like this to me. It looks like this is going to be the total number of games played and not really 20 games played. This is what it looks like to me. I think we're only going to play 10 games. What do you guys think? Do you think we're really gonna just play 10 games based on our calculation? All right. All right. So I'm just going to go over this real quick. And this is not the original question, guys. This is not the original question. I just decided to ask that question out of the box. So what I'd ask is that how many games do you think were played in total? So since we have already calculated and established that each team will play 4 games each. However, if I play a game, say I'm my team, I have my team here and you have your team there, and I play one game against you, that means that same game I played against you is the one that you played against me. So why am I counting that game as 2 games when really it was 1 game? And the same for the other games here. If I play a game against you and you play the same game against me, it's basically 1 game, and that is what I am talking about here. So thank you guys for just moving out of the box and thinking about this question. All right, and it's ability test we're practicing here, so of course we're going to test our ability with several different kind of questions, definitely, guys. So let's move on to our next question. All right, so let's go. All right, so it says if one droplet of water falls from a pipe every 20 seconds, how many droplets of water would have fallen from the pipe in 5 minutes? Let me hear what you guys think. So yes, some of you have done this before. I get that. I get that, guys. We're doing it again with explanations. I need to hear how you solved it before and how you're solving it now. Go ahead. If one droplet of water falls from a pipe every 20 seconds, how many droplets of water could have fallen from the pipe in 5 minutes? And of course, I need some justification for your answer. How do you know? I see persons saying 19, 5, 15, 3, 5, 5, 15, 300, 315, but I don't understand. All right. I don't understand. And please answer in a sentence like, 5 droplets of water, 6 droplets of water, 10 droplets of water, so on and so forth. So I know that we've moved on to this question. All right. So I see little Ariana says 4 drops of water. The answers, we have 4 options here: 3, 5, 15, and 300. What is your answer and how do you justify it? What is your answer? How do you justify that answer? I can every 20 seconds, 15 drops, 5 droplets of water. All right, guys, if I don't see droplets of water or drops of water, I don't know which question you're answering to. So I'm just looking for the ones that says drops of water so I know what your answer is for this particular question. All right, so I see Mia Lanell saying 20 times 3 is 60 seconds. So 3 droplets fall every minute. 3 times 5 is 15 drops every 5 minutes. Joshua says 15 drops because 20 times 3 is 60, which is 1 minute, which equals to 3 droplets. So continue doing the same thing until you get 5 minutes. All right. Devashia James says there are 3 drops of water in 1 minute. So therefore 3 times 5 equals 15. All right. Stephisha says 300 droplets of water. Kanil, 60 drops multiplied by 5 minutes equals 300 seconds. All right. When we divide the 300 seconds by 20 seconds, we get 15 droplets. All right. All right. All right. I'm seeing some explanations here and I love them. That's what I like to see. I love explanations. 3 droplets of water, and Jean says 3 droplets of water would fall in a minute. So we multiply 3 times 5 to get the answer. All right, guys. All right. All right, very good, guys. And we are definitely on the same page. So, for those who are not yet understanding this one, because I see some persons would have worked it to a particular extent, and it is pretty good so far, but it is somewhat incomplete. Now, it says if 1 droplet of water falls from a pipe every 20 seconds, how many droplets of water would have fallen from the pipe in 5 minutes? So we talk about every 20 seconds there is 1 drop of water. So every minute, how many drops of water would that be? So we know that in 1 minute we have 60 seconds, right? And if every 20 seconds there is 1 drop of water, then 20 seconds would be 1 drop, 40 seconds would be 2 drops, and 60 seconds will be 3 drops. So 3 droplets of water. I'm going to put 3 drop right here, or 3 dr to represent droplets. That equals to 1 minute, right? So we know how many droplets of water we have in 1 minute. So if we know that, we can always calculate how many there are in 5 minutes. And that would be 3 droplets times 5, which is the 5 minutes that we're trying to figure out how many droplets have fallen from the pipe in that time, would give us 15. 3 times 5 is 15 droplets. And that's how we will arrive at this. In fact, this is one way to arrive at this. All right, very good. All right. Okay, so for those who use this method, or if they use another method, once we end up with 15 droplets, we're definitely correct. So thank you so much, guys. I'm really so proud of you and your explanations. Explanations, justification of answers is always very important. All right, so yes, the correct answer is 15, for 15 droplets of water in 5 minutes. Very well. All right, so let us move on to the next question. Okay, all right, so someone asked that I explain more. All right, so I'm just going to explain based on what we have. So if 1 drop of water falls from the pipe every 20 seconds, and we have 60 seconds in 1 minute, it therefore means that we have 3 drops of water falling from the pipe in 1 minute, because 60 seconds is made up of 3 20 seconds, right? 20 seconds plus 20 seconds plus 20 seconds, giving us 60 seconds. So for 1 minute, there are 3 drops of water. We want to know then how many in 5 minutes. So 1 minute, there are 3 drops. 2 minutes, there is 3 times 2, 6. 6 drops. 3 minutes, there is 3 times 3, 9. 9 drops. 4 minutes, there is 3 times 4, 12. 12 drops. And 5 minutes, there is 3 times 5, 15, which is 15 droplets of water. All right. So that is one way really of coming up with this answer. All right, so if you need further explanation, I suggest that you play this video back as soon as we have ended, and you can go back to this question and listen to the explanation. Try to work it out for yourself, and let's see how much you'll understand at that point. All right, guys, great job so far. Let's move to this question. And remember that justification always important. So this question here says, Paul, who is 54 years old, is 3 times older than his son Daniel. Daniel is 2 years older than his sister Leah. How old is Leah? And I want to see some answers. And Yes, we could use an algebraic expression TikTok. However you want to solve it, whichever way you understand it, you solve it that way. All right. So these are really, even though it will come up with a particular answer, there are many different ways to solve one question, and you will end up with the correct answer in those different ways, provided that you know how to use that approach that you're using. So, of course, I'm seeing answers here, but I don't know how you came up with your answers. So, guys, if you're saying, "Oh, old is Leah," I see person saying 18. If you're answering to that, I want you to see I want to see Leah is 18 years old. I want to see Reka Spence who says 16. I want you to say Leah is 16 years old, or Leah is 20 years old, or whatever numbers you guys are saying, or Leah is 49 years old. I want to see those answers in a sentence so that I know what you're really answering to. I want to see some explanation. Paul is 54 years old, 3 times older than his son Daniel. Daniel is 2 years older than his sister Leah. How old is Leah? All right. Now, Monica, it's very important that you know how to explain. So you gave me an answer. I don't know if your answer is right, because if I am not seeing any explanation, then of course I don't know if your answers are correct. Explanation is definitely what we want to see. All right. So let's get. Okay, Joshua, I see Leah is 16 years old. And Shania, I see you say Leah is 18 years old. Same for Free Fire Time, saying Leah is 18 years old. But what is your justification? Crystal Dixon says Leah is 49 years old. What are your justification, guys? Now I see Joshua coming up with something. Joshua says 54 divided by 3 equals 18. And subtract 2, Leah is 16 years old. All right, Natalia says Leah is 49 years old. 54 take away 3 equals 51. 51 take away 2 equals 49 years old. All right. I see Jaquan Wisdom saying Leah is 16 years old, because if you divide 54 by 3, you would get 18. Then subtract 2 and you'll get 16. All right. Mia Lonell says 54 equals 3 times. Okay, 3 times older. Okay. 54 divided by 3 is 18. Daniel is 18. Leah is 2 years older. All right. So Leah is not quite 2 years older. I mean, Daniel is 2 years older than Leah. Good. So 18 take away 2 is 16. Leah is 16. All right. I'm seeing those justifications and they're looking really good coming in. And Dreen Porter said to get Daniel's age, you need to divide 54 by 3, which is 18. We take away 2 from it to get Leah's age, which is 16. All right. Little Ariana says if Paul is 54 years old, so Daniel is 49. All right. I need to see justification, guys. How did he come up with those years? I see Skyline says 16 because 54 divided by 3 is 18. So now we know Daniel's age. So it says Daniel is 2 years older than Leah. So 18 take away 2 is 16. So Leah is 16. Now I like that explanation a lot. And the reason I like it is because while there are some calculations going on, 54 divided by 3, I need to know why we're dividing 54 by 3. And whatever answer you get, I need to know why you're subtracting 2. So those kind of explanations are better than just your calculations. So yes, guys, many of you are correct, and I will be doing the calculation here, especially for those who did not get it correct. So Paul, who is 54 years old, is 3 times older than his son Daniel. If Paul is 3 times older than Daniel, then how old is Daniel? So let's divide that 54 by 3. I see many of you already doing that. and you got 18. So here we can say Paul is 54 years old and Daniel is 18 years old. Very important to point what 18 means for you. So Daniel is 18 years old. It further said that Daniel is 2 years older than his sister Leah. That means Leah is 2 years younger than Daniel. In order to get Leah's age, we're going to subtract that 2 years from the 18 years that Daniel has. And we're going to end up with 16 years old. Leah is 16 years old. Now, that is the kind of explanation I want. What is the meaning of all those numbers that you're getting? Yes, your calculation is right, but what does it mean? What does it mean? All right, guys, so this is how you will come up with Leah's age. All right. So for those who had said 20 years old, 18 years old, 49 years old, I hope you understand what I just explained here. We first need to see if Paul is 54 and is 3 times older than his son Daniel. We need to divide that 54 by 3 to see how old Daniel is. And then it said that Daniel is 2 years older than his sister Leah. That means Leah is 2 years younger than her brother Daniel. And so in order to get Leah's age, we have to take away 2 from Daniel's age to get 2 years younger, which means that Leah is going to be 16 years old. All right, guys. So I hope that for the ones who did not get it before, I hope this explanation would have cleared up things for you. All right, guys. So yes, you're working it out. Your calculations are correct, but what are those numbers? What is the meaning of those numbers? All right, guys. All right. So very good. And remember, guys, you can always come back to the video. You can play it slower, pause it as much as you'd like at that time, and try to understand what is happening here. Let us move on to this question. Now, this one is a question showing a graph. And we're going to use on this graph to use the information from this graph to see which of these 3 statements is true. All right, so school A and school B each has 650 students. The diagram below shows the distribution of males and females in 2 schools. So you're looking at it. Of course, there's a key, and that's the first thing we need to think about. What is this key? What does it mean based on what is represented here on the diagram? So the blue part says males, the red part is for females. So school A shows where this part is females, this part is male, and school B says an equal number of male and female students. So let us look at the 3 statements. Which statement is true? Now it's okay for you to put A, B, or C for your answer here. So you don't have to type everything out. That's fine. So it says the number of male students in school A and school B are equal. Is that true? Go ahead and tell me. Is that true, guys? The number of male students in school A and school B are equal. Is that true or is that false? Tell me true or false in the chat. Go ahead, true or false in the chat. Just type true or false if the number of male students in school A and school B are equal. Let me see if that is true or false. We're taking it one step at a time. Some of you, yes, knows the answer. But tell me, is A true or false? I see some false coming in. And I see Ali Abu saying true. The only one saying true so far. Everyone else is saying false. Ray J. Graham says false. Karen Walker says false. Let's think about it. I'm just going to go and, as you know, I like to model my things. So I will go and I will try to draw a line here to see if, all right. So here I have divided the pie chart in half, and certainly school A does not have the same amount of boys and girls. Obviously, you have more females than we have males. All right, so let's look at B. The number of male students, so definitely A is false. So I'm just going to put an X here to show that A is false. A will not work. The number of male students in school B is less than the number of male students in school A. Tell me, is this true or false? The number of male students in school B is less than the number of male students in school A. True or false? We're at B now. Is B true or false? True or false? The number of male students in school B, are they less than the number of male students in school A? So school B has equal number of male students and female students. That means in school B, all of this side should be blue, right? Because it says that it's the same amount of female students going at that school, it's the same amount of male students are also there. So tell me, we have in school A, we have more, if you look at school A, we have more than half of the population at school A being females and less than half being male. At school B, it says an equal number of male and female students are there. That means we have more male students at school B than there are at school A. Because here we have less than half male at school A, and so school B would mean that we have more than half. The statement says the number of male students in school B is less than the number of male students in school A. If this should be half, is this really true? Because I see lots of persons saying true. This can't be true. School A has less male than school B. School B has more male than school A. So this has to be false. This can't be right. Think about it, guys. This cannot be true. Look at it. It cannot be true. So more male students are in school B than in school A because we have less than half of male students in school A, but we have half in school B. So it cannot be true. It has to be false. Let's look at C. The number of female students in school A is more than the number of male students in school B. Tell me, is that true or is that false? The number of female students. Are you noticing here in the graph in school A, we have more than half of the population being female? More than half of the population at school A is female. And remember that both schools have the same amount of students. More than half of the population at school A is females. However, at school B, half the population is female. So the number, let's look at the statement. The number of female students in school A is more than the number of male students in school B. True or false? All right, I see lots of true coming in. And we're so right. It is definitely true. We have more female students than male students here in school A, definitely. And in school B, given that half the population which have been like this side is male, it means then that if school A has more than half and school B has half, school A definitely has more female students than school B has male students. So C is the correct statement here. All right, guys. Well done. Very good. Let's just move on to our next question. We're going to talk about this one a little more too. David's mother gave him $200 to buy some carrots at the blue market. She will be using the carrots to make juice for her church barbecue on Friday. At the market, David finds two vendors selling carrots. Vendor A has carrots for $40 per kilogram, and vendor B has larger carrots for $50 per kilogram. Questions are, the questions are, from which vendor should David buy the carrots? And I want you to go ahead and explain why. How do you know? Which vendor should David buy the carrots from? And how do you know? Why have you chosen that vendor? All right. Let's look at this question now, guys. David's mother gave him $200 to buy some carrots at the market. She will be using the carrots to make juice for her church barbecue on Friday. At the market, David finds two vendors selling carrots. Vendor A has carrots of $40 per kilogram, and vendor B has larger carrots for $50 per kilogram. Which vendor should David buy the carrots from? And why? Now, I see Rashika Foster says vendor A. Why do you say vendor A? All right. Ariana Purcell says vendor A because he would get more for his money. Bloodfire says he should buy from vendor A because it's cheaper. Diana Forbes says vendor A, come on, I need to see a justification, guys. Moya says vendor B because the carrots are bigger. Tanya says vendor B because he's getting bigger carrots for a reasonable price. Life with Brittany says B because the carrots are bigger. Narika Spence says B because they have longer carrots and you get more juice. Jamar Gale says vendor B because he will get bigger. Nordia Griffithsburg says A because they are selling the same amount of carrot and vendor A is selling it cheaper. Vendor A, although vendor B has bigger carrots, it is same per pound. It is same pound and vendor, and it is cheaper. So I guess you mean it is same kilogram and vendor, and it is cheaper. Kadeen says vendor B because he just needed $50. $50 vendor A is little. Ray J says B is cheaper than A. All right. Althea says B has larger carrots and it can share equal. So B. Regine Williams says it is cheaper. Princess because the vendor A have 4 kilograms and the other have 5 per kilogram. The 4 per kilogram, a little 5 per is big. Okay. Okay. Vendor A because he will get more carrots for his money. All right. Vendor A is cheaper 40 times. 5 is 200. All right. It's your girl Ashley. All right. Mia Lonell says I picked vendor B because the carrots were larger and they would be more used for them than the small carrots, which they could be finished quickly. And vendor B, the price is better. All right. So I'm seeing all these explanations. Vendor A, vendor B. Vendor A, vendor B. All right, let's done with the fuss about vendor A and vendor B. Let's talk about this in a mathematical kind of way. So, let me see. So let's look at this first. Vendor A has carrots of $40 per kilogram. How many kilograms can David buy with the $200 at vendor A? I want to see that in answer in the chat. Don't leave out your units now. How many kilograms can David buy at vendor A? How many kilograms? So if you're going to put, I want to see 10 kilograms, 15 kilograms, 1 kilogram, 2 kilograms, whatever the answer is. Tell me, at vendor A, how many kilograms can he buy? All right. So person says Tejan, Samoy, Ariana saying 5 kilograms. Ariana says saying 5 kilograms. How did you figure that out? Tell me. How did you get that? All right. So we've got $200 divided by $40 at vendor B. That will give us 5 kilograms. So vendor B, 5 kilograms. Let me write it here. What about vendor A, 5 kilograms? What about vendor B? Vendor B, tell me, how many kilograms will David get to buy at vendor B? Very good, guys. He will definitely get 5 kilograms at vendor A. At vendor B, tell me, how many kilograms will he buy at vendor B? So we have $200 here. It's the same $200 in the comment says $200 him get to buy carrots. But at vendor B, it's $50 per kilogram. So, all right, thank you, Teja. Raby saying 4 kilograms. Thank you, Michaela and Jamar, and all you guys who are saying 4 kilograms. 40 divided by 200 divided by 50 gives us 4 kilograms. Does it matter if the carrots are big or small? Because if I go to the market and I can spend $200 and get 5 kilograms of carrot, or I can spend $200 and get 4 kilograms of carrot, would you take the bigger? Wouldn't you take the more, the larger quantity, the larger amount? Because I mean, we're buying it by the weight, right? We're buying the carrots per kilogram, and of course in Jamaica we say per pound. But tell me, would you get more carrots from vendor A in weight, or will you get more from vendor B in weight? More from vendor A or more from vendor B? Because I mean, his mother not going to care if them big or them small. She want more carrot for the money. So it doesn't matter if they're big or they're small. It's the same weight. It's the same weight. It's the same carrot. It's carrots given the same weight. If I'm to buy carrots, if I'm to buy 5 kilograms of carrot or 4 kilograms of carrot for the same money, I would pick 5 kilograms of carrot because 5 kilograms of carrot is always going to be more than 4 kilograms, whether the carrots are big or small. It's going to be more in weight. So when his mother clean up them carrot and drop them in the blender, it doesn't matter if they were big or small. She's gonna blend up all of that, and it's gonna be in small. It's gonna be it's gonna be shredded and very small now. So it doesn't matter if it was big or not. No, it doesn't. And so the better option would have to be vendor A. And of course, your justifications are important, but your justification has to make sense too. You're not going to say, oh, vendor B because the carrots are bigger. No. She wants to make juice for her church barbecue. Most likely, she wants to make as much juice as she can. All right. So, no, Jessica, bigger doesn't mean more. We're talking about the weight. We're talking about the weight here. So not because the carrots are bigger, it means that you'll get more carrot. It's a weight. We buy carrots by the weight. When we go to the market, we weigh the things that we buy. If we're going to buy 2 pounds of carrot or 3 pounds of carrot, I mean, if it is that I'm going to buy, say for example, we weren't using kilogram anyway, and we're using pound, what we're really used to. And it says that $40 per pound at vendor B and $50 per pound at $40 per pound at vendor A and $50 per pound at vendor B. I would go to the cheaper one. Carrot is carrot, and it's the church I'm making the juice for. I mean, once they're not bad or damaged or anything, It doesn't matter if they're big or they're small. All right, guys. So let's move along. I hope we all have understood, and at some point we have come to agree that vendor A is the better vendor based on price to buy from. All right. Well done, guys. All right. So let's move on to this question. It says that you are the captain of your school basketball team, and your coach asked you to help him to decide which player will be better able to help the team to win an important match against the team that is defending the champions. So you are the captain of your school's basketball team, and after playing and playing, you and one next team, reach to the finals, and you are now competing to be the champion, or the other team might be the champion. Now we need to decide which player out of these two players. We have Natasha and Andreen. which of these two players which of these two players would which one would you best would you this would is better to play at this championship? Would it be Natasha? Would it be Andreen? Let's look at the scores, the points that they have scored in previous games. Natasha scored 28 in match 1 and Andreen scored 44. Match 2, Natasha scored 26, Andreen scored 0. Match 3, Natasha scored 19, Andreen scored 31. Match 4, Natasha scored 21 and Andreen scored 6. Match 5, Natasha scored 29 and Andreen scored 42. But in total, they all scored the same amount of goals. Tell me though, which player will better improve the team's chance of winning? And tell me, why have you chosen that player? All right, Mr. Turtle says Natasha because she scored 26 goals and Andreen scored 0 goals. That's just one game, Mr. Turtle. Let's talk about all the games together. Tamara says not that job because their numbers keep on going up, although they have the total same amount of squares. Anaya Cox says Natasha because she scored in every game. All right. Joshua says Natasha, she's more precise with her points. Jamar Gale says Natasha because she scored in all of her games. Akimoy Smith says Natasha because she scored in every game. Narika Spence says Natasha because she has more points. Kedeen says she's good in all the matches. Nordia says she always score points, Natasha. Marlene says Natasha because she didn't lose any match. It did not give us that information though, whether she'll lose the match. Remember, they're playing in a team. So really, Andrina and Natasha are on the same team. But we need to see which one of them we're going to let play in the finals, So based on how they have been scoring for those 5 matches, which one would we select for the champions to play in the finals for the championship? So I see lots of persons saying Natasha because she scored in every game. However, Unruly Gamer is saying Andreen because he's more precise. Now, let us look. Say, for example, let us look at this. Let us just hash this out a little. We have Natasha scoring 28 points in the first game and Andreen scoring 44. I mean, 44 is a lot of points, right? And that is pretty good. Let's look. All right, Kevin says Natasha has better stats on the field because Natasha is fitter than Andreen. How do you know that Natasha is fitter than Andreen? That information was not shared in this task. Match 2, Natasha scored 26 and Andreen scored 0. Look at that. Andreen scored 44 last time, and then now she come on the field and she scored not one ball. Match 3, Natasha scored 19, Andreen scored 31 again, which is very good. Match 4, Natasha scored 21, Andreen scored 6. Just 6, Let's look at match 5. Natasha scored 29, Andrine scored 42. If you notice here, Natasha is always scoring a lot of points, whether or not it's more than Andrine's, but she's sure to be scoring a lot of points in the game. We're sure about that based on what we're seeing here. Now let's look at Andrine. We cannot trust Andrine's playing, because one time she will come and score one whole heap of ball, 44 points. She would get here, so and then next game she not score nothing. Then the next match she scored this nice amount again, 31 points. Then next game she just scored 6. Next game now she come make 42 points, which is really good. What will happen in this match 6? Basically, I see Andrine's scores fluctuating. Sometimes it's up and then it's very low. It's very high, then it's very low. And so I believe based and I see that a lot of you would have agreed with me that Natasha is a better pick to play. Natasha is sure to score a lot of points, but Andrine, you cannot trust her. She score a lot here, then she score little, then a lot, then little, then a lot. Maybe the next one she's gonna score a small amount too. And so, yes, definitely, Natasha is the better choice here. And of course, our reasoning and our justification is important, but we have to make sure whatever we have decided, it makes sense. All right. So, guys, I would select Natasha, and a lot of you would select Natasha as well because Andrine is unpredictable. There's a chance that she might come in this game and score 0 again, or she might just score 6. So, definitely, Natasha is a better pick. All right. I hope others will begin to agree based on our justification. Let us move on. Here it says, Mary lives 1 3/4 miles from school. She rode her bicycle to school and back each day for 5 days. Which expression shows how to estimate the number of miles she rode? Go ahead. Which expression? And I want you guys to note the difference between expression and equation, because in some maybe one of the components you might need to write an expression or an equation. Please note, like, an expression is like an incomplete sentence. An expression is just a half point of something, but an equation it's a complete sentence which has the subject and the predicate. In the expression is either you have the subject or you only have the predicate. So you realize here that there is no equal sign in expressions, but if we're talking about equation, it has to have an equal sign. It is showing that this side is equal to this other side. All right, so which expression are we thinking about? Go ahead, type your expression in the chat. Not just A, B, C, or D, type your expression in the chat. All right, so the first one says, open bracket 5 plus 2, close bracket multiplied by 2. 5 times, open bracket 2 plus 2, close bracket. C says, open bracket 7 plus 2, close bracket multiplied by 2. And D says, 7 times, open bracket 2 plus 2, close bracket. Tell me what you guys think. All right, I see some persons saying their answer is C. Are we talking about this question now, though? All right. I hope we are. So C, some person saying B, some person saying D, some saying A. So basically, I see persons giving me at least, all the answers. So let's think about it. I see person, okay, Kevin says 5 plus 2 multiplied by 2 is my answer. All right. All right, let's think about this. Now, let's look at what is happening here. Mary lives 1 3/4 miles from 2. Since we're talking about an estimate, you can see here that 1 3/4 miles was rounded to the nearest whole, which is basically 2 miles. So we're using 2 for this expression. You're not seeing 1 3/4 miles. we're using 2. So if she rode one, let me just get my pen here. If she rode 1 3/4 miles, if she lives 1 3/4 miles from school and she rode her bicycle to school back each day for 5 days, it means that 2 multiplied by, the amount of miles she rides in one day might give us, how far she has ridden in one day. So I'm looking at your responses here though. I'm looking at your responses here and I'm trying to, okay, because I see everyone at least saying one of the answers. I'm not really seeing much of a justification. All right. All right. So let's think about it. So if it is that we have, say, about 2 miles, she lives about 2 miles from school, and we need to know how we need to know which expression shows the estimate the number of miles she rode for the 5 days. Then let's think about it. 2 miles from school, and she rides that back and forth each day. So that means we're going to multiply 2 miles by 2. All right, so we're going to multiply 2 miles by 2, or we can just add 2 miles plus 2, and that is for one day, and then we multiply that by 5, which is for 5 days. Let us see if we have anything looking like that. 5 plus 2 here is showing that, I don't know, maybe we're adding the 2 miles plus the 5 days, which is really not something that we should be doing. So this one cannot work. So far, this one will not work. All right, let's look at B. It says 5 multiplied by 2 plus 2. All right, so 2 plus 2 is basically telling us that this 2 miles ridden to school plus the 2 miles ridden back home is for one day. And if we multiply that by 5, we'll get how many miles she has ridden for the week, right? Let's look at this one. 7 plus 2. Where did this 7 come from? I don't know. Where did this 7 come from? Did they add that the 2 miles plus the 5 and then they multiply it by 2 for the back and forth trip? Well, whatever it is, this one does not add up either. 7 multiplied by 2 plus 2. No, say 2 plus 2 is the miles to school, 2 miles to, 2 miles back. Where did this 7 come from? Because we're definitely talking about a 5 day, she rode for 5 days, right? So this one again cannot be a viable option. And so our correct answer has to be B, where we're multiplying the 5 days times the 2 miles to school and the 2 miles back. So the correct option here would be B. All right, and I hope persons are understanding as we're going through, but I see a lot of persons sharing B for the correct answer, and I still see persons saying C. Now, before I move on, can you explain why is it that you're saying C? Where did you get this 7 from in C? And why are we adding that 7 to 2 and then multiplying by 2? Explain to us, why is it that you have C for your answer? Because if it is that, let us think about this like this. We ride 2 miles to school and 2 miles back home. This tells you how many miles you ride each day, right? Now, each day you ride 2 miles to school, 2 miles back, but you're riding for 5 days. That means whatever we get here, we have to multiply that by 5. And yes, you see the 5 coming first, no problem. It's the same thing. You're multiplying 2 plus 2 by 5. So the 2 can come before the brackets. The 5 can come, 5 multiply can come before the brackets. Because whatever you're doing here is that you are multiplying the 5 days by the 2 miles to school and 2 miles back home. So if it is that we're picking one of these expression, but if it is that we wanted to make this simpler, of course we could say 5 multiplied by 4. 2 plus 2 is 4, and we multiply the 5 by that. All right, so let us think about it like that, And for those who are still not understanding, I would like for you to, go back, look at this calculation here and listen to the explanation a second time, and hopefully you will understand at that point. All right, so let's move on. Let's look at this one. If box plus box equals 250, then 1/5 of box is equal to what? Please don't put A, B, or C for your answer. Just put 100, 50, 25, or 15. All right. The correct answer is not C, guys. It is B. All right. So if box plus box is equal to 250, then 1/5 of box is equal to what? Is 1/5 of box equal to 100? Is it equal to 25? Is it equal to 50? Or is it equal to 15? All right, I see some 25 coming in, 150. Wow, I see persons sharing at least 3 of the answers here. All right, so I see persons sharing at least 3 of the answers here. Could someone explain their answer in the chat? Well, now I see 15, so persons are selecting all the answers. Can you explain how you arrived at your answer in the chat? All right, so Devashia says 250 divided by 2 is 125. 125 divided by 5 is 25. All right, thank you for your explanation, Devashia. James, I'm looking for other explanations here. Anai says 250 divided by 2 equals 125. 125 divided by 5 equals 25. All right. Mia Lonell says 250 divided by 2 equals 125. 1/5 of 125 is 25. All right. All right. And as you can see, I am really looking at the responses that has an explanation. Of everyone can come up with their answer, but the explanation is what I want to see as well. So let us think about it. All right, Samoya also said she divided 250 by 5 and got 50. Wow. So let us think about this. Let us try to find box. This box is whatever the value of box is at one part, any part of this question, it's the same value it will have throughout. So if box plus box equal 250, it means that if we divide 250 by 2, we should get the value of box. So box is equal to what? What would box be equal to, guys? All right, let me see what we have here. Okay, so persons are saying we divide 250 by 2, we get 125. That means box is equal to 125. And then it further said that 1/5 of box. We're trying to see 1/5 of box. Box is 125. So 1/5 of that is written like this. Or it could be written like this. 125 divided by 5. That is how we write 1/5 of 125. And when we do this calculation here, of course, we can go ahead and do a cross multiplication. Let's represent this as a fraction. We can say 5 into itself goes 1 time. 5 into 125 goes 5 times. And then we'll say 5 times 1 equals 5. And 1 times 1 equals 1. Hold on. 5 into 125 goes 25. All right, sorry, please let's go back right here. 5 into 125 goes 25 times. I'm not sure if I said 5, but I realized I wrote 5. So 5 into 125 is 25 times, goes 25 times. Therefore, 25 multiplied by 1 is equal to 25, and 1 multiplied by 1 is equal to 1. So that's 25 over 1, which is the same as 25. And here we could have said 25 in 5 into itself goes 1 time. 5 into 125 goes, okay, 5 into 12 goes 2 times with a remainder of 2. 5 into 25 goes 5 times, so this is 25. So whichever approach we take, 1/5 of box has to be equal to 25. All right, guys, it must be equal to 25. So we have to follow through with whatever we are working with. We have to follow through. If box is 125 here, box has to be the same value anywhere else in the question. So take it one step at a time. All right, let's move on to the next question. Let me see what you guys are sharing here. Take one says 100 plus 25 plus 25 equals 150. 150, take one. We have 250 here. I'm not sure where your numbers are coming from. All right, so the value of 1/5 of box is equal to 25. All right, let's move on to our next question. And we're almost at the end. All right, so let's move on to this question. Use a diagram to answer the question below. When folded along the dotted lines, which geometric solid is formed? Let's look at this net right here. Which of these geometric solid is formed? Do we get a cylinder? Do we get a pyramid? Do we get a rectangular prism or a triangular prism? What do we get when we connect, when we fold along the dotted lines and we connect up the different parts here? What do we get? How do you know? Samoya says triangular prism. How do you know, Samoya? Why not a rectangular prism? How do you know it's a triangular prism? How do we know? I see a lot of persons saying triangular prism. I see Stallone saying cylinder. Michaela had said rectangular prism. Explain to us, how do you know? How do we name prisms? When we're looking at the different faces on the net, how do we name a prism? How do we name prisms? Did you know that we name prisms by the base? The shape of the base, which is triangle. And because it will form, if you look at the top, you will realize that, okay guys, I see you all coming in. When we connect, all right, yes, you are saying there are 3 faces, but really there are 5 faces. But if you look, very good Joshua and Bloodfire, very good guys, we name it by the base. It is definitely a prism. It is not a pyramid because all the faces do not meet at an apex. So we're very sure it's not any pyramid, but it is a prism, and we can name that because the base are these 2 points here. It will sit on the base. The top and the bottom, we use those faces and we name it by the base. The base would be a triangle. So the base and the top will actually be the same. They're identical. And so we name it by the base. So if this base was actually rectangular and we had 1, 2, 3, 4 of these long rectangles instead, we would have a rectangular prism, but we don't have that. We have a triangular base. So it's a triangular prism. All right, guys, we name prisms by their base, the shape of their base. which is a triangle. So it's a triangular prism. And we're very sure it is not a pyramid because all the faces are not meeting at a common apex. All right. So let's move on to the next one. Very good, guys. K estimated the number of people in a stadium to be 32,000. Which of the following numbers could not be the actual number of people in the stadium? K estimated the number of people in a stadium to be 32,000, which could not be the actual number of people in the stadium. Go ahead and share the number. I don't want to see A, B, C, or D because some of you would have shared that for the first one. I want to see. So share the number in the chat so I know. When I see the number, I will start to respond. Mia Lonell says 32,987. TikTok is saying the same thing. All right. Mia Lonell, yes, I get you, Mia. That's cool. Courtly Wright is saying the same thing. So is Anae Cox. Anae Cox. All right. So TikTok says we are rounding off. Joshua says the same thing because it is way too close to 33,000. Very good, Joshua. Now, that is what I want to hear. This number here, 32,976, is closer to 32,000. I mean, closer to 33,000 than it is to 32,000. And if it is that we were estimating, because when we're estimating, we're also talking about rounding. It means, therefore, that the number has to be below 500. This part here has to be below 500 for it to be estimated as 32,000. And this one does not have that. So D is definitely out. Let's look at C. Could C work? 32,487. Could that work? Of course, because 487 is less than 500. And you know that when we're rounding, we always say, a popular thing we always say, below 5, we round down, and 5 and above, we round up, right? So definitely this one would work. 32,101. Yeah, that's pretty close to 32,000. Definitely less than 500. That would work as well. 32,050, pretty close to 32,000, and definitely less than 32,500. And so, of course, the correct answer has to be D, 32,976. That could not be the actual number of people in the stadium. Very good, guys. Brilliant. All right, so let us move on to our next question. All right. This one is saying that Dennis is numbering the pages of his book. Page 1 is a right-hand page, page 2 is a left-hand page, and faces page 3, which is a right-hand page. Which two pages will face each other? I want your answers 11 and 12, 22 and 23, 27 and 28, or 31 and 32. Now, okay, I was trying to look at the comments here. No, I want your answers to be the answer and not A, B, C, or D, so we can, follow what it is that you are sharing. I see Tamoya K says 22 and 23. Can you explain that to us? Guys, I see a lot of you saying 22 and 23. Can you explain that? Rihanna Riri says 11 and 12, which is different. No problem with that. Can you explain your answers? While you explain this answer, let me just backtrack to the question that we just did. Now, guys, the base of a solid, when you look at the cross section, if you're to look at the cross section of the solid, that is definitely the shape of the base. If you cut that prism that we have there in half, just straight across the half, and cut those long rectangles straight across the half, when it is all folded, you will get a triangle. The base and the top are where we look when we look at that prism and we have the opposite faces being the same thing in that triangular prism. Those two faces, it's unique that the base and the top is not going to be the same shape all the time as the other faces. The base and the top are considered the base. Whichever way you want to turn it, upside down or whatever, that is where your figure, your solid will sit on. That is considered the base. In the shape that we just had, those long rectangles cannot be considered as the base. When you fold all of those up, of course, your solid can sit on one of those faces, but the base is where we have this particular shape facing a shape that is similar to that one, or the same, yeah, basically a copy or a twin of that shape. And if we go across the cross section, it will still give us that shape which the base has. That will be the triangle. If you cut across the cross section of the solid, you'll get that same triangle that you have for the base and you have for the top. That is where we consider to be the base of a solid, not what the face is looking at. We can't just pick any face and call it the base, because yes, the solid can land or sit flat on that. All right, so I want to clear that up for the persons who are still saying that the long parts are the base. All right, so let's go back to this one. So Michaela says the first page is on the right, so the next page would be 2 and 3, and the only two consecutive number in the option is 22 and 23. But 11 and 12 are consecutive. 27 and 28 are consecutive. 31 and 32 are consecutive. Come on, guys. All right. Tanya Brown says 22 and 23 because she did it with a book and got 22 and 23. Courtly Wright says 22 and 23 because page 2 and 3 are facing each other. Okay. All right. Courtly says 22 and 23. Okay, I just read that. Anaya says all even numbers would be on the left. All even numbers would be on the left. All right. And side, and odd numbers on the right hand side. All right. So if you're saying the numbers, even numbers are on the left. This is the left, right? This is the right. So do you mean, because you're saying all page 1 is on the right and page 1 is an odd number, so odd numbers on the right. Page 2 is a left hand page, and that's an even number, and that is on the left. Okay, I'm seeing what you're saying, Anna Cox. Very good explanation there. All right, so let me look at other explanations. I want to read as much as I can here. All right. 22 and 23, Samoya says 22 and 23 because even numbers are on the left and odd numbers are on the right. All right. I think there could be a little bit more based on what we're saying. The pages are facing each other. All right, guys, I see you guys checking. I see you guys checking here, which is very good. So I see you guys actually doing this with an actual book. That's cool. That's cool. All right, so let's look at this. So here, page 1 is an odd number, as you had said. So we are going to put O for odd number and even number here. E for even number. So, let me just erase it and put it on the other side. So put even number here and odd number. Because we say even number is on the left. That's what we said. And odd number is on the right. So whichever answer we get, we're looking at the even number being on this side and the odd number on this side. All right, and that is the only option that shows that. All right, and if we're talking about the page that will face each other, you know, the book middle, That is what we're really talking about here. So what would the book middle look like? So after counting, I would say, all right, we count and we reach 21 on the right and 22 on the left. Then we go to 23, which comes after. It's in the middle of the book, so 23 will be on the what? The right. Good. Even and odd. All right. Of course, you can answer Zia Gordon. I just need to see some explanations here in the chat. All right, definitely. So B is certainly or the correct answer. And I like the way where you guys analyzed and figured out that even numbers will always be on the left and odd numbers will be on the right. And since we're talking about numbers facing each other, it has to be consecutive numbers, which all the options are. But while all the options are consecutive numbers, it does not have that other variable where the even number is on the left and the odd number on the right, just like this one. All right, so that's good. And I love your explanations there. That is really good. Great, guys. All right, so we're winding down to the end here. Let's move on to the next one. All right. So a survey was done and 40 grade 6 students were asked about their favorite sport. The following information was gathered. No more than 10 students chose volleyball. More students chose football as their favorite sport than the number of students who chose volleyball. And more students chose track and field as their favorite sport than football and volleyball together. Which chart best represents the information gathered from the survey? All right. So we have chart 1. So remember now we're thinking there are 40 grade 6 students. They're talking about their favorite sport. So obviously there are 3 favorite sports that they had selected here. No more than 10 students chose volleyball. So let's look at it. No more than 10 students chose volleyball. So that's the first point we have to start to eliminate which of these pie charts will not work, which of these charts will not work. So I see person saying chart 3 is the answer, some person saying chart 2. All right. But I like some explanations. Some person saying chart 4. I like some explanation. I would love for you to share your explanations with us. But let us look at the clues here. No more than 10 students chose volleyball. If 40 students were in the survey, it means that half of the pie chart will show how many students will be on half of the pie chart. Go ahead and answer that for me in the chat. How many students will be represented on half of a pie chart? So we're going to do this one together. I want you to tell me how many students will be represented on half of a pie chart. All right, so I see person saying 20, definitely. Because if 40 students were in the survey, it means that half of the amount is 20. So on one side here is 20, on the other side. On chart 1, remember it says that less than 10, no more than 10 students chose volleyball. But in chart 1, it shows that 20 students chose volleyball because 20 is half of the amount. So chart 1 cannot be the correct answer. Let's look at chart 2. Now, let's also look at the other points too. So it says here that no more than 10 students chose volleyball. And so, of course, halfway here would be 10. So this part shows that yes, less than 10 students chose volleyball. But let's look at the other one. More students chose football as their favorite sport than the number of students who chose volleyball. So more students chose football than volleyball. Here we definitely have that, where more students chose football than they did volleyball. And then the third point says more students chose track and field as their favorite sport than football and volleyball together. Now, is this one pointing to that where more students choosing track and field than football and volleyball together? Nah, because football and volleyball is definitely more than track and field. So we see that this one won't work either. All right, so let's look at chart 3 with all of those variables. Certainly, we can see that volleyball here is not more than 10 students. So yes, that is good. More students choose football than volleyball. This is showing here more football here than volleyball. That is good. Point 3 says more students chose track and field than football and volleyball together. I see where chart 3 is pointing that out. Let's still look at chart 4. Well, track and field is there more than football and volleyball together, but let's look. Volleyball is certainly more than football, which is an X at point 2. So this one will not work either. I want to see what some of you guys had said. Courtly says 3 because track and field is more than volleyball and football, and more of football is there. All right. Yes, very good. Shakeli Valentine says definitely 3 because it shows all the points. Sure, definitely. So we are going to be counting down and eliminating. All right. So yes, guys, I see a lot of you saying chart 3, and I hope after the explanation and the analysis we would have done here with the 4 charts, everyone will now be agreeing that chart 3 best represents the information that is gathered from the survey. Cannot be chart 2, guys. Cannot be chart 2 because it says more students chose track and field as their favorite sport than football and volleyball together. This is football and volleyball together, and it is more than track and field. Track and field should be more than those two together. That's why it cannot be chart 2. All right? All right. Let's move on. Let's see if that's the oh, it's not the last one yet. No problem. We're still winding down to the end. So here it says what comes next in the given series. A, B, C, D, or E. What comes next in the given series? Go ahead and share that. What comes next in the given series? Yes, guys, you're doing great. All right. Yes, I know some of you did it already, but your explanation is important, you know? All right, so let's look. So first we have this triangle in this way. We have this one, this one. What should be here at 4? Will it be A? Will it be B? Will it be C? Will it be D, or none of the above? Now, I like this ex Benedict. He said C because it's going clockwise. I like an explanation. So let's look at it. We have the triangle pointing upwards. I'm just going to use an arrow to show what I'm really saying. So we have this one pointing up, the next one pointing to the right, the next one pointing down. And so we can assume that this one is pointing to the left, right? Like north, east, south, and west. Yeah. So let's see which one is pointing to the left. That looks like C. Very good, guys. And so C is the best option for this one. Brilliant. All right. Now, someone pointed out that it's going clockwise, and that is a good way to look at it. Once you can figure out the pattern, it's really a pattern question. That means you have to look at it, analyze it, and see what really will come next. So let's think about it. This first triangle is pointing to the north. This one is pointing to the what? Can I say east? Then this one is south, and this one is west. Or we can say, it's like we're going clockwise, as someone had said. All right, very good, guys. Very good. So let's just move on to the next one. Brilliant. Let's look at this one. If this representation represents this, then what will this represent? Let's look at the answers here. Yes, smells flowers like a compass. Yeah, and Tahira Wright says it is rotating. Very well. Brilliant, guys. And Jada says we're making a pattern. It is definitely a pattern. All right. So let's look at this one. This figure represents this one. So it means that this one would represent what? A, B, C, or D. Okay, I see lots of answers coming in. I see A, I see C. All right. Okay. All right. Can anyone explain? C, Andrine says C, miss a quarter. All right, Michaela. Okay, Michaela, you deleted that one. No problem. All right, let me see. Come on, guys. Give me a reason for your answer to be C. Why is your answer C? Let's justify that. All right. All right. So, ooh. All right. All right. So C because smile for C because it took away the amount that is not shaded. TikTok says we're doing equivalent. Okay. All right. Shakeli Valentine because the first diagram is 3/4. So the diagram 3. So diagram 3 would be a quarter. All right. All right, guys. I see your explanations and they are pretty good. So let's look at this. Let's think about this and what these two have in common. If you look at this shape here, this rectangle, we can see that we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6 shaded out of 8, which is the same as 3/4. All right. And this is showing 3/4. So we can look at it like that. The shaded portion is what will represent the next shape. So if we look at this shape here, the same rectangle, we've got 2 out of 8 parts shaded, which is 2/8, which is the same as a quarter. Let's write that. A quarter. Then it means then that the circle or the part of the circle we should be seeing should be a quarter of a complete circle. This here is showing half of a complete circle, so it cannot be this. This one is not quite showing quarter. In fact, it looks like 1/8 of a complete circle. It is less than quarter, so we can't use that one either. Ooh, this one looks like a quarter, and it will fit right here as well to make a complete circle, right? So 3/4 missing 1/4. 1/4 is what we're looking for. This part looks like it would really show a quarter. Now this looks good. This looks like a quarter to me. And this definitely is not 1/4. This is almost a whole. This is like 7/8. So this one will not work. So if it is that we want to think about that, we can think about this as the missing part of this whole. And this fraction is 3/4. That means the missing part is 1/4. We could think about it like that, as well as we could do the same for the circle. What is missing from this whole too? It would have been this quarter. So yes, we're looking at the fract, even though it's represented in two different ways, one in a rectangle, one in a circle, we can see the relationship between the different representations. And so this last rectangle here is showing a quarter shaded. We're looking for the quarter of a circle that is shown in the answer. So we have this as the correct answer. And I see a lot of you had said C, so yeah, you were definitely on that same, same point as I am. Very good. Yes, TikTok stream, we could reduce 2/8 to be a quarter. All right, so a boat has a crew of 5 people. It can carry a total of 16 people. How many trips would it need to make to carry 75 passengers to an island? So let's look at it. A boat has a crew of, and I don't want to see A, B, C, or D this time, guys. I would love for you to put the answer 5, 7, 11, or 15. So the boat has a crew of 5 people. It can carry a total of only 16 people each time. How many trips would it need to carry 75 passengers? All right, and I need to see your answers and your justifications. All right, I see lots of 7 and 11. But how do you know? I don't know. Which one is correct? Can someone convince me using their justification? Which is correct? All right, so I would love to see some justification here. Yes, I see your answers. I see someone saying 15 now, but I want to see some reasons for your answer. All right, Zia Gordon says because out of the crew 5, I don't understand. That's incomplete, I think, right? All right, let me see some explanation. 75 divided by 16, which is 4.6 something, and we round it off to 5. 7 because the people who work on the boat are the crew. Anaya Cox says 16 take away 5 equal 11. 75 take away 11 equals 6 remains 9. Then you add one more trip to get 7 trips. All right, Anaya, you've got a real good point in there, and I love that. Let's talk about this all together. I want everyone to pitch in, share as well as we go through. So, if the boat has a crew of 5 people, every trip the boat make, the 5 people have to be on it. So that means then, if the boat can carry only 16 people, 5 of those 16 people will have to be the crew. That means if there are 75 passengers that are going to the island, they're carrying to the island, it means that each time only 11 of the passengers can travel. And Nai divided 75 by 11. So she divided 75 by 11 and she said she got like 6. So let's go ahead and divide that. 75 divided by 11 gives us, let me see. Yeah, about 6, almost 7, right? So 75 divided by 11 means that we have 11 people first time here, 11 people in the next trip, 11 people again, because we can't be adding those 5 crew. They have to be on each trip. 11 again. So she had said 6, and yeah, the calculation would give us 6 trips here. And in this 6, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, this would be like 66 passengers. 66 passengers, but we have 75. So if we have 66 passengers going on 6 trips, it therefore means that we've got 9 more passengers to go to travel over. Once it is not exceeding 16 people when you add that the 5 crew members on it. That's pretty good, right? So the next trip would be the 5 crew members and those 9 other passengers. And so the 6th trip plus that 1 trip will give us 7 trips. All right, let me see if we're all on the same page. So we'll have 7 trips. So the correct answer would have to be B. All right, some people are saying 5. And I think you're saying 5 because you divided your 75 by 16. But we can't do that because we're talking about the crew people here. And the crew people is not like we have 5 different sets each time. It's the same 5 crew people that are going to bring some passengers, not exceeding 16 people. The 5 crew members are also people, so they have to be included in the 16 people. So if they're bringing over passengers, it has to be 11 passengers. 11 plus that 5 gives us 16. So each time we can't divide that 75 by 16. All right, because we're talking about the crew members, which is 75 passengers, not inclusive of the crew members. So the correct answer here has to be 7. And if you follow this explanation here, because 11 plus the 5 crew members is 16 each time, it means that only 11 of the passengers we can bring over on each trip. And if we bring over 11 and then 11 and 11 and so on again, we will end up with 66 people going over on 6 trips of 11. But there are more people left, like 9 more people left to give us 75 passengers. So the crew will have to go back for that 9, which will total it to 7 trips. All right. All right. Brilliant, guys. All right. All right. So let's move on here to the next one. All right, so the number in each diagram below follow the same rule. Use the first 3 diagrams to help you to find the missing number in the 4th diagram. The first diagram shows these combination of numbers and relationship. I don't know what the relationship is because then I would like, oh, okay. Okay, Anna High Cox. All right, so there's a relationship with these 3 numbers. What is it? There's a relationship with these 3 numbers. What is it? There's a relationship between these 3 numbers. What is it? And are the relationship between these 3 sets of numbers, is the relationship the same? So TikTok stream says we are multiplying. We're multiplying what? All right. Peter Gaze says 12 because 11 times 12 equals 132. All right, Jelani Morgan says they added the first top number by itself. I'm not understanding that. All right. I'm seeing 12 times 11 equal 132, but I'm trying to figure out how you got 12 for your answer. Latoya Daly says 5 times 2 equal 10, 7 times 4 equal 28, 9 times 8 equals 72, so 11 times 12 is equal to 132. That's very good, Latoya Daly. So basically what you are saying is that the relationship between the numbers is that 2 of them are factors and 1 is the product, right? That's what you're saying. So you're saying 5 times 2, which are the factors, will give us 10. And we're trying to see if it works with the second one now, which you have clearly explained that it will work. 7 times 4, which are the factors, will give us 28. And that's the relationship between the numbers. 9 times 8 will give us 72. And so we need to see then which number when multiplied by 11 will give us 132. In order to do that, what would we need to do? We need to do the inverse. So since we would have been multiply 11 times this number to get 132, in order to figure out, very good Daniel, we must divide 132 by 11 and we will get 12. You're so right. Very good, Sherwayne. Great. All right. So I love that. You guys are really ahead of me. That is something I really appreciate. And so the correct answer for this has to be 12. So the relationship between the three numbers in the triangles in the diagrams is that two of them are factors and the third one is the product. And if it is that we need to find one of the factors, we will know because we have learned this, from grade 3 coming up, that in order to find the missing factor, we'll divide the factor that we have into the product to get that missing factor, right? So you guys are on the right track. Very good. Let's look at this one. So someone had asked before to give them another one of these age questions. Here we are looking at one of those age questions. So David is twice as old as Rachel. Peter is 5 years older than David, and Kim is 3 years younger than Rachel, which represents the order of the children by age from the youngest to the oldest. Now, I want to see, all right, guys, very good. I want to see how you would solve this. You perhaps know the answer, and it's okay if you want to say A, B, C, or D for your answers. But if I don't see any justification after your answer, then of course I cannot take that as a complete answer for this session. Of course, you only need to pick A, B, C, or D for your exam, but I need to know that you understand how you came up with your answer A, B, C, or D. So let's look at it. So David is twice as old as Rachel. Peter is 5 years older than David. Kim is 3 years younger than Rachel. Let's see. Let's look at this. I want to see some justification. See a lot of persons saying D. But how did you get your D? What? Because you remembered what you did in class? That's why you got D? How did you get your D in the first place? Yes, we're definitely ranking, but how are we able to rank if we don't know, who is older than who? So here it says that David is, and we're sorting these, we're ordering these from the youngest to the oldest. So it says here that David is twice as old as Rachel. Let's see. Peter is 5 years older than David. So Peter is older than David, and David is older than Rachel. Sorry, guys. So here we know that Peter is older than David because he's 5 years older than David. Because he's 5 years older than David, and David is twice as old as Rachel. So first we can see then that Peter is older than David. So I'm going to put P for Peter based on what we're seeing. I'm going to put P for Peter. I'm going to put David here because David is twice as old as Rachel, but is 5 years younger than Peter. So let's see what Rachel's relationship with Kim is. Kim is 3 years younger than Rachel. That means Rachel is older than Kim. So we have Rachel there and then we have Kim. Now, you might be seeing me ordering from this end because the data given, the information given is really giving us the age from the oldest to the youngest, but we need to order from the youngest to the oldest. Sorry. So here we see that Peter is 5 years older than David. So Peter is older than David. David is twice as old as Rachel. That means David is older than Rachel and Peter is older than David and Rachel. Kim is 3 years younger than Rachel. That means Rachel is 3 years older than Kim. And so we have it in this order where Kim is the youngest, then Rachel, then David, then Peter. So our correct answer is D. Very good, guys. I see a lot of you guys. You're giving your explanations. I see Devashia giving hers. Very good as well. I see a lot of explanations coming in, and I am appreciative of those explanations. So the correct answer is D, and I see everyone basically saying D, but the justification is what I was, a lot more interested in. Now, guys, this is the final question. Let me go ahead and clear here. That's the final question. So here it says, this is the picture showing at number one. So we have different design. Design number one, we have this. This is design number two. This is design number three. And it asks, how many matches will there be in design number 10? Now, I want us to kind of have a little mathematical discourse here. How would we figure this out? And as you can see, this is really a question where we have to think about the pattern being shown and to see what rule we can use for larger design numbers. So let's go ahead. Tell me, how many matches will be there in design number 10? All right. Yes, guys, very good. We have moved on to this one. This is our final question for today. All right. So Rihanna Ferguson says they're adding 4 more as they go along. All right. That's very good to note. All right. Uh, the blood fire says because they are being used as even numbers. Jordan Cox says 40. Veronica Campbell says 4 times 10 equal 40. And Dream says 40 matches. Jelani says because one match on the top, one on the bottom, one on the left and right. Each time we add 4. So what would the rule be? Can you tell me what the rule will be? What could the rule be? Do you know what a rule is? A rule is basically a general equation that you can use. You just need to plug in some numbers and come up with whatever design number you're asked of. So let us look at the first one. If you notice at the first one here, it is showing us, design number one is showing us 1, 2, 3, 4. All right, so if we multiply the 4 sticks here for design number one, we get 4, right? 4 times 1, 4. If we look at number 2, we want to see if that can work as well. We've got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 sticks here. So if we multiply design number 2 by 4, will we get 8? All right. So yes, each time we add 4. But if it is that we do not know what we had previously, adding 4 will be very difficult because it will now mean that we have to think about how many matchsticks are there in all the design numbers for us to figure out how many will be in design 10. Let's look at this one. So basically we're looking at, we multiplied 4 matchsticks by design number 1, we got 4. 4 matchsticks by design number 2, we got 8. So 4 times 1, 4, 4 times 2, 8. At design number 3, we're going to multiply 4 by 3 and we get 12. But let's count to make sure that we have 12 matchsticks. Because in order to arrive at a rule and for the rule to really make sense, I see Camille saying n times 4 is where the design number is n. Very good, Camille. Now, that is what I'm talking about. When you're writing a rule, that is how we will definitely be writing our rules. Very good. Very good, Camille. But let us check here to see if we definitely came at 12. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11, 12. And that worked. So based on what we're given, we have to see if the rule that we come up with, if it will work with all three of these design numbers. That's the only way we can figure out for design number 10. So here we can say our rule is, as Camille said, we can say n, where n represents the design number multiplied by 4, and that will give us the total matches in whatever design number is asked of. So what if I asked you to tell me how many matchsticks will be there in design number 15? What would you do and what would your answer be? So yes, for right now, your answer is definitely, for this one that we worked on, I see a lot of you telling me about 40 matches. You're so correct. 40 matches is definitely correct. But I want to give a little spin on this. I want you guys to tell me how many matches, how many matchsticks or matches will be there in design 15, design number 15. Go ahead and tell me. And I want you to actually write your, show how you worked it out right here at the end. All right. So how many matches will you have in design number 60? Design number 15. All right. Very good, Canil Edmondson. I see you're definitely using that rule. Devashia saying 15 multiplied by 4 gives us 60. All right. All right. And I actually want to see your calculations. So, all right. Andreen says 4 times 15, 60 matches would be there. Nordia is saying the same thing. Very good, guys. But I will definitely be doing another session where I will be helping you to derive rules from patterns and to come up with missing, whether design number or terms or whatever. All right, guys, and you have done very well today. You have done very well today. Before you go, I sometimes I like to hear from you. I like to hear your feedback. So I want to know, how was the session to you? Did the session benefit you? What comment would you like to leave for me to take in consideration? So what I will do, I will go ahead and share this link in the chat. You can click on it and you can leave your feedback. You can click on this link and leave your feedback. So I know if the session actually benefited you. And guys, I know I've been missing for a while now. So I hope to be here next week, Saturday. And also, you can share in the feedback whether or not Friday evenings would be good for you. That's a good time for me as well. So if Friday evenings is good for you, you can also share that in the feedback. Let me know. Will Friday evenings be good for you? Like, for example, 4 o'clock, 5 o'clock Friday evening. You can let me know here so I can also do sessions on Fridays as well as Saturdays. All right. So thank you guys so very much for tuning in today. Go ahead, click on the link and leave your feedback, or you can use your another device to hover over this QR code and it will take you straight to the link. All right, guys, it was really good exploring with you guys today, and I will see you again next week. If it is that I do have a session on Friday, though, uh, you can always go back and watch it. I know it's more fun when you're on it live with me. So, you can try your best to come at 4 or 5 whenever you're home from school. I will see how best I can do. But see you next week, Saturday, again at 10 a.m. Please leave your feedback using the link. Take care and keep practicing. Bye bye.